Oh, everything's black. Oh, that went well. There we go. Don't know what happened there. Don't know what happened there. Okie dokie. Happy Sunday, everyone. Well, not so happy, but it's a Sunday. We have a lot to talk about. And I think we have to start with talking about the most recent topics on the US, which is Minnesota once again. Once again. And this time Trump is promising to, well, not promising, but
Airborne Division, some 15.
There are 2 battalions of 1,500 soldiers ready and waiting if they need to be deployed to Minnesota. And I think that's a bit of a sad situation for people in Minnesota, and that's a sad situation for the people in the United States if your president needs to deploy the military against your own citizens. They've got lost already. That kind of tells you everything you need to know about a leader if they need to deploy a military against your own citizens, the same people you are leading.
100 active duty Army paratroopers have been put on alert for a possible deployment here, even though for now there is no plan for that to happen. One official saying the president has not made a final decision whether to deploy those 2 battalions. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. That official saying, "We are taking prudent steps to prepare active duty Army forces. This doesn't mean they will deploy. We are preparing options." This comes after President Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in order to deploy federal troops. But in recent days, the president seemed...
They're already right-wing influencers and like just normal citizens of the United States that are begging Trump to put martial law into effect. Well, he has a very fancy Christmas party. Sounds like Africa. But there's a lot of people online and around America that actually wants martial law, which is kind of wild because I think they don't really know what that means. That has to be the case, that they don't really know. I deleted X. I simply couldn't take all the misinformation and hate no more. It is a cesspool. What up, Laugi? How's your day been? It is a cesspool of like misinformation, and especially because even if you ask like Croc the AI of X, who's the biggest mis and disinformation spreader there, it's Elon Musk, according to Croc, not according to anyone, like according to Croc. Which is like if you see and go watch what Elon Musk spreads, like, yeah, you can kind of see it. Trump protecting Greenland, toppling dictators and living the dream. God bless President Trump, greatest president of the world. Protecting Greenland. Greenland is okay. Greenland is already protected under NATO Article 5 and 6. So, it's already protected. Furthermore, like, even the Danish intelligence said that they don't consider China and Russia that big of a threat. So, they did mention that Russia has increased the amount of military vessels around Greenland. But then again, in the same sentence, they did mention that US is also on the list of like nations to watch because of the unpredictability of their leadership. That is literally in the 2025 intelligence report from the Danish intelligence. They are mentioning because of the uncertainty and also the instability of the leaders of the United States. There is a threat. Anytime a NATO country has been attacked, or anytime NATO has required for deployment of the NATO countries that they need to send their troops. Denmark, for example, has been one of the early responders, also other NATO countries as well. So as a matter of fact, the United States have benefit more from the NATO countries when it comes to like military aid. Congratulations on the 10% tariff, Alisa. Hey, I did my job. I made that happen. Hey, Snarky Parky bitch, thanks for the follow. I want to say that I think that the reason why Trump wants to get rid of NATO is because he's still like aligning himself with Putin. If you think about it. It would also explain why he's so incapable of ending the war and also doesn't really want to help Ukraine fight Russia. There's that twist in here as well. Also, if Trump claims at the same time that he's really good friends of Putin, and Putin wouldn't, for example, attack Ukraine and so forth, but all of a sudden he thinks Putin is a big threat to Greenland. But then again, he doesn't know that Russia is actually the neighbor of the United States already, even before Greenland. So we can't really take anything he says that seriously, you know? You're Finnish leftist. Okay. So, how will these tariffs impact Finland? They won't. There's an interesting point about like inflicting tariffs on EU countries, which I don't think Trump really thought through, because you can't really pick and choose and select EU countries to impose tariffs, because we are EU. So it's a collective thing, and it doesn't really affect that much. That's why I think a lot of EU countries are just gonna say like, "I have pocket." We're gonna see a plot. Russia, wild on the one day they say they support Denmark and Greenland, next day say they will nuke us. Canada is MD. Putin's playing with Trump. He does what he wants, and Trump just watches it happen. To be honest, here we take 10% tariff as a badge of honor. 100%. Alaska, not the US mainland. So, like, Alaska is not that far away. Of course, Alaska is a huge place. But still, you can just give Alaska to Canada, right? If you don't like, if you don't want it, if you don't consider it like. They aren't officially deployed to Minnesota yet. I know that. I should have probably put a question mark here. I can do that now. If that's like, there we go. Now there's a question mark there. So military to Minnesota question mark. Speaking as a Dane, I am proud of our fellow Europeans who supports. Oh yeah, like, I don't think that like it's a given, and again, like, we do respect our agreements that we've made. That's the thing that differentiate us from Trump, is that if we have agreements, we do abide to those. We follow through them. That's the big difference there. There we go. Now we have a question mark in the title. Minneapolis native here. We are being occupied, and the media isn't showing anything from US. I mean, it is wild that Trump has a war on his own soil. He's planning on invading another country, the second one, and in a short period of time. He's also planning on attacking Iran still. So, doesn't feel like that sort of a peaceful president, you know? Raven, thanks for the follow. That doesn't strike me as a peaceful president. I think Trump is just speedrunning to become the #1 villain of the world. Like, Putin is literally sitting back and watching this and thinking like, I mean, I worked hard for to become the #1 villain in the world, and Trump just fucking speedruns it. Focal, thanks for the follow. Raven as well. One in our Danish parliament said live on CNN that Stephen Miller has the traits of a rapist. I mean, Stephen Miller has the mannerisms and the speech patterns of a real fucking Nazi sympathizer. I'm not even hiding it anymore. Like, the things that they do, the rhetoric they use, it is literally, and I've stated this many times throughout these lives, like, every single thing they do, even their slogan, Make America Great Again. One silly mustache man in the 20s said that he wanted to make Germany great again. I mean, like, Trump is slipping into senility. Stephen Miller is running the country. That is a theory, though. Yeah. Do you prefer Iran's dictatorship because of the DDS? No. Like, I've seen the people of Iran like suffer throughout their regime for decades. It's ironic that the right wing now in the US woke up to that because their great leader said that they're going to support it. Because their external interest of Trump's, who are actually telling him what to do, they have an interest in that country as well. But I am always on the side of the citizens. And they have been suffering in Iran for a long fucking time. So I am all for toppling that regime. I hope the same thing happens in a lot of other countries. For example, in Israel, in Russia, even in the United States. I'm all for revolution, always. Would there be a chance some EU countries will boycott the World Cup? The lovable stoner, I think that's not too far-fetched, but I think they won't. Like, if I was calling the shots, yeah, definitely. But I'm not. So, Yahla Velindo, thanks for the follow. The Iranian people have suffered. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And it is ironic that America is willing to go and help those protesters, but they are not willing to help the over 70,000 Gazans, Palestinians that have died, over 40,000 women and children that has died. Or they are not willing to help the protesters in Minnesota, but they are picking and choosing what they value more the Iranian protesters than their own citizens. Think about that. Think about that. Where are all free Palestine people for Iran? I am a free Palestine person. And I'm all for the Iranian people to make a revolution and take over their country and try to make a better place to live. Because that's called consistency. And that's something, the consistency part is something that a lot of right-wingers lack of. Because they're just waiting what their supreme leader is telling them that they need to be, well, what their political view needs to be. So that's why they lack complete fucking consistency. Because they're just listening to a babbling old man telling them what they need to think. That's called a cult. But then again, we've had this discussion that they don't have a personality, and their personality is only tied into that MAGA movement. So whenever you challenge that movement or anybody in that movement, you're directly attacking their personality. And that's why they take it so personally, because they are right on die with that. Because that's what they have. Sean, thanks for the follow. I'm Andy Miller as well. Because you're in a blue state if you're even American. I'm not even American. How come you are incapable of admitting Trump is scoring on every subject? What is that is stopping you from accepting reality? I mean, if you're actually think that invading another country, taking over their natural resources, and dictating who's going to be the leader in that country, for the upcoming future, and also who their neighbors, like neighboring countries that are independent sovereign nations, do business, and what they do. If you think that's a good thing, I can't really help you in that point. Like, you kind of need to suffer the same fate as those. We've seen the playbook before. We've seen that throughout history when regime change happens, like kickstarted by the US. We've seen how that goes. What happened to your fingernails? Is there something wrong with my fingernails?
To walk that back.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Tensions mounting in the city of Minneapolis after 11 days of demonstrations. We were outside City Hall Saturday as dueling protests.
He's on board with the libtards so they don't get a foreign invasion whenever he's from. What?
Took place. Hundreds of anti-ICE protesters descending on the area.
MAGA is a cult. It has all the characteristics. I mean, red state. I think Greenland.
Organized by a conservative influencer.
I mean, this is gonna piss off a lot of people in the chat because I can sense that there's a lot of people that this actually applies. But it is that, like, you have made the movement, that leader, your whole personality, and if somebody challenges that with reason or with compassion or with facts, they are directly attacking your personality, and then you just do what they do, deflect and attack, because that is because you don't have anything outside that movement. So I urge every fucking person to start viewing things objectively. Of course, it is easy for me to yell here because I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican, so Biden was a shit show for 4 years. 100%. Trump is a shit show now. Trump's first term was better than the second term. This term, Trump is doing Trump is doing so much damage to the US's relationship around the world that it's going to take years to fix that. Creative Strive, thanks to follow. But then again, Bush did the same in the 2000s when he started the war in Iraq. Like, the damage Bush did was almost on par what Trump is doing now. Trump hasn't done yet everything, but he's on the right track. What nation will ever trust Trump? What nation will ever trust Trump after the start of 2026?
Right now is that the organizers of this rally who are in the middle of that scrum right there, they're being forced out.
Yeah, no nation. Exactly. Why would they? Because he makes emotional decisions. He changes his mind all the time. And he clearly has outside interests that he's focusing more. So if they decide differently, he will change what was agreed. Why the fuck would anybody trust a person like that? Who runs the country like it's, I don't know, it's a fucking book club or something like that. Bush at least was reliable for the allies. Trump is just a loose cannon. But Bush again, like, Bush destroyed a lot of like international relationships, like outside of his ally bubble. Well, he's made peace with all nations so far. There, 3 to go, I believe. Has he? He's now attacking his own allies in Europe. He's making enemies, like literally neighboring countries, they're enemies. So they can pretend that everything's fine, but they never trust Trump 100%. I think that's the biggest like thing he's doing. Like, he's destroying relationship. That's the thing. That's going to be his legacy. He's going to make the US has the same reputation as Russia under Putin. That is his legacy. He's speedrunning the United States to be on par with Russia under Putin. He's sanctioning and deporting Native Americans. Did they finally release the Native Americans that were in ISIS custody and they didn't tell anyone where they are? Did they finally release those? Trump is doing all to deflect attention of the Epstein files. I hope the fuck not. Yeah, 7119, but like they did detain those Native Americans. And they were hiding them. They weren't going to deport them, but nobody knows why they were in captive. I'm getting a lot of hearts and such. Hey, I'm going to thank now. Dub Docker, thanks for the heart, and Go Popular. Ali, so thanks for the heart. Cormio as well, thanks for the heart. I'm in Minneapolis. They released one and lost 3 others. So 3 is still missing. God fucking damn it. Like, that's what you get when you have uneducated people giving ultimate immunity and authority. That's what happens. Incompetence. Nympha, thank for the follow.
The City Hall area drowned out by hundreds of people who are anti this ICE deployment in the city. The message...
ICE agents are deputized entering Proud Boys. I mean, it would be interesting to see it. Weren't there like some of the files that they stole from the federal agent's car, like the documents? Weren't there like a list of people and personnel in the ICE? I think there were some January 6ers and Proud Boys, but I don't know if that's verified or anything. Native here, you have many South American people running to reservations pretending to be native. Okay, not looks like they are full-blown just that. So enforcement of federal and international law is not something you want. Why was a Native American trusted where they wanted? Well, because nobody knows where they are. We can't ask those questions. I don't even think if they've gotten a fair trial because there's no due process with ICE. You know? They are not treated like any other person if they're arrested or taken into custody. So, Eric, we don't know. And the like members of that Native American group are trying their hardest to find them.
To these organizers, get out.
Meanwhile, the Minnesota National Guard posting this picture, saying that if they are ever deployed to the streets here, they will wear these bright yellow vests to differentiate themselves from ICE and Border Patrol.
And so again, as of now, no plans to deploy the National Guards to the streets here, and no final plan to deploy U.S. troops either. But with the fact that we're even talking about it at all tells you a lot about the state of play here in Minneapolis.
It sure does. Matt Rivers for us. Thank you. Let's bring in ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl, who'll be hosting This Week later this morning. John, good morning. Always
6 people. I actually saw that the military is gonna wear those yellow signal vests, like with that, because they want to differentiate themselves from ICE. So the protesters know who is the military and who are ICE. So yeah, we can call them yellow vest military though. Native, doesn't that mean that we're here first? Yes. That is truly sad that there is no true justice or accountability for ICE. Yeah, I mean, there's a group of secret police in the past that had the same immunity. Team Tower 18, thanks for the follow. We need European army ASAP. I mean, there's a lot of individual armies in Europe, like different countries have. Finland has a pretty good army. Debon Ayer, thanks for the follow. Have there been videos of military or National Guard in Minnesota? Not yet, because they're still on standby. There's two battalions on standby. So they are waiting when... It's Sunday, so Trump goes golfing on Sunday, so we need to wait when Trump comes back from golfing. And I think then he's going to make the decisions about that. Because it's Sunday, so he goes golfing every Sunday. That will come. These guys will pay for their crimes. You can't really hide behind, I was just following orders. You know? There are people who tried that in the past. And it didn't end well on them. Hey, Jean Robin, thanks for the sub. There were people in the past who tried hiding behind. I was just following orders, and it didn't end well for those. Right, he takes breaks all the time. I mean, he takes naps all the time. Corvin, thanks for the capybara, and also showing you, thanks for the rose. Showing you, thanks for the follow as well. Nuremberg, exactly, call me Joe. Has Walton, the Somalis, sent the money to Swiss bank accounts yet? No, that's Trump. Like, they probably need to send them to Qatar, though, just like Trump did. Call me Joe, thanks for the follow.
Always great to see you. So you have a big interview coming up with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who's called the ICE surge there an invasion. Now that move from the Trump administration, putting some 1,500 troops on alert. How extraordinary is this kind of standoff between state and federal authorities?
Well, wait, it is extraordinary. It is dangerous. ICE and other.
This is a good question, and this is the difference between the thought process. 7119's comment in YouTube got censored by YouTube. Don't know why, but he asked me, imagine if your child being murdered by an illegal immigrant, who would you blame? The murderer, regardless what the status of that murderer is. Murderer is a murderer. Whether it's my neighbor, whether it's a person from the next town, whether it's a person from a neighboring country, whether it's a migrant, immigrant, whatever, it's a murderer. I don't need to put those fucking flags on people. You know? I talk to anyone. I don't care where they're from. I don't care their color of their skin. I don't even ask that majority of the time, unless they brought it up themselves. Because you know why? That doesn't make a fucking difference to me. That doesn't make any difference to me. Hey, minun Suomen veli. What up, Vladimir Putin? Hey, Sassy April, thanks for the follow. If they invade Greenland, let the snow become red and the world will see who... Oh my god, okay, that's pretty brutal. We are all humans. Yeah, exactly. Like... And the beautiful thing about this is like, I know I've succeeded as a parent when my daughters do the exact same thing. They treat everybody the same. Every fucking people they talk to, regardless what's their background, what the color of their skin is, they treat everyone the same. And that's something a lot of people lack. Do you realize your views are unrealistic and unsustainable? No, they're not. Mitä tapahtuu Minnesotassa? They are thinking of deploying the military there. Most countries in the EU require immigrants to get housing. US Democrats keep undocumented free housing. Let's check that.
Federal law enforcement personnel vastly
Mommy
outnumber
Mogo, thanks for the follow.
Police in Minneapolis right now, and in addition to having that presence, the threat
Other
of
cultures don't
possible
share your
Insurrection
virtues.
Act
Like,
invocation by the
I don't know how many
active duty
cultures you've
troops.
actually
You have the
interacted with,
Justice Department
but we share a lot of
going in and launching a
similarities with
criminal
different cultures.
investigation into the mayor and the governor. Really a set of circumstances that we really haven't seen, at least
Rick
in a
James,
very
thanks for the
long
follow.
time in this country.
Yeah, and it appears to be escalating as well. I also want to ask you...
Hey,
about
wait a
President
second.
Trump's
So, somebody mentioned that in the US, Democrats give undocumented free housing. So in California, Democrats have expanded state-funded homebuyer assistance programs like down payment loans and subsidies to include some undocumented immigrants who meet income criteria. But this is not free housing. It's aid towards purchasing a home, and it's state-specific, not federal. Overall, the broad claim doesn't hold up. It's not a systematic democratic giveaway of free housing to undocumented immigrants. New York City, under its right to shelter law, and Chicago have used hotels and shelters, often funded by a mix of city, state, and federal dollars. This is a humanitarian aid amid influxes, not permanent free housing. Okay, so there are some Democrat cities and states that do that, but there's no wider, and it's not free per se. Lucas Elliott, thanks for the follow.
Now threatening to...
Yeah, like, I mean, real estate, it's down payment assistance, it's paid back. Yeah. But I mean, when you do those blanket statements, those like populist statements, it's easy to get angry of those because they over-exaggerate the whole issue. And then you have that, I was just having a discussion today again about why populism works, and it's because people want to have somebody to blame why things are bad. When somebody says that it's because of group X, then you have that enemy, and then you have that reason to be mad at. And then the people who are actually fucking you in the background, they get away with it. So again, when you have a scapegoat, why things are bad, and it's coming from politicians, it's usually hide the fact that they are the ones that are actually fisting you. Sorry if there's any younger viewers here for the graphic language I'm using, but I've seen this playbook around like Europe and also now in the US for the past 10 years. It's just like ramping up. Carl, thanks for the follow. Tiffany, thanks for the follow. Isom, thanks for the follow. European deport illegals too. Yes, we have processes for that. Lisa, thanks for the follow. We don't go door to door knocking. You landed your 2 Finnish troops on Greenland, bro. Talk about your own country, stay off American politics. No, because I love talking about American politics. I was talking. We don't go door to door. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god. When I was in Europe, I am literally living in Europe. No, they don't. They don't go door to door just randomly looking for people. Annie, thanks for the follow. Bye. I was thinking about that already in the last stream. That did you read what I wrote, or can you not process it because you don't want to? I was talking. So one-on-one policies and results. Trump is an absolute machine at getting stuff done. I mean, Europe doesn't deport anyone. Yes, we do. Do you know who Keir Starmer is? It's literally like I'm neighbor for the UK, so I do know who that is. I'm in Chicago, and they went door to door with no warrants. Europeans let people follow their process, and if they are denied asylum, then they are deported. I mean, I think from the 95 in TikTok, there might be some British there. Let's do a check in Europe Sharia law. That's a complete bullshit lie. There's 96 people in TikTok. Is there any UKers there? I think Stamer is a doormat. Don't get me wrong. Stamer is not a good PM. Fuck no. How far away are they? Few hundred kilometers that way.
Use tariffs against U.S. allies. What are the risks here for the administration?
Yep, so many things you say. Like, because my criticism of politics isn't like based on individual groups. There are good Republicans. There are also good things that Trump has done. For example, the pharmaceutical battle. All for that. I've been fucking talking about that since 2008. That Trump, not Trump, but the US needs to fight the fucking pharmaceutical companies. That's a good battle to have. Also, the insurance companies is another one. So it's not like I don't give a fuck about if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If, let's say, if AOC was doing this now, AOC or Bernie Sanders decided to invade Greenland, I would be up in arms. Like, what the fuck are you doing? The same as I am now. John, thanks for the follow. But that's the thing, because you need to catalog yourself in a box. Either you're left or you're right. Either you're conservative or you're liberal. Either you're a Democrat or a Republican. There's no in-betweens in the political discussion nowadays. And I can see it in the chat quite clearly. Either you're diehard Trump or you're far-left lunatic. There's nothing in between. And that's been the process that we've had for a good decade. Is like the polarization of the political conversation is dividing people. And because when you divide people, it's easier to point that, hey, that other group is really horrible. The other group is doing the same. That other group is really horrible. Trump helps himself. Yeah. I mean, how many of you had a bit of an outrage when Saudi Arabia announced the big Trump resort there? And the following week, when that resort was announced, Trump announced that they have a big military cooperation with Saudi Arabia. I mean, not drawing any lines, but how many of you were like uproar about that? Not quite many. That's awesome. Why get upset? I mean, when your president is doing those personal business stuff, for example, when they steal the oil and from Venezuela and keep the money and put them on their personal bank account in an offshore bank account. So it's those things that really makes you distrust your leader. It's easy also to hide corruption. It's at two different levels. You don't like Trump because of Trump policy. Why is it politically? Trump is legendary, okay? Some of us know it all a big game. Finally, life's getting excited. It's a bit too excited. We're fucking 18 days in. We're 18 days in the year, and it's a bit too excited.
Well, first, Wade, I have to tell you, I've spoken to several people very close to Donald Trump, both in and outside the administration.
Americans got two brain cells. No. Let's not make blanket statements. It's not like the political system of America should completely revamp, but unfortunately, there's too many interest in having that two-party political system. So it's never gonna change unless it comes from the citizens itself. And because the citizens of the United States are brought up and trained to think that they don't have power over the country or government. So they don't know that they actually have the numbers to make a change. So they are just abiding and accepting their fate. James, thanks for the follow. But yeah, the politicians and the lobbyists aren't going to change the system there. It needs to come from the citizens himself. Cobra Kai, thanks for the follow. Did I miss anybody else? Call me out if I did. Shai Balalai, thanks for the follow. Elisa says hello, thanks for the follow. Yeah, literally, the citizens have the power. If you're American, if you're Finnish, if you're Irish, if you're Iranian, if you're from Israel, if you're from Russia, you outnumber the government. You literally are the bosses of that fucking government. You have the power. That's, for example, why we saw so many revolutions last year. Omega, thanks for the follow. We had Nepal, we had Sri Lanka, we had Madagascar, we have Bulgaria, we have Slovakia, we had Peru. We had Bangladesh. We had so many revolutions last year because of people getting fed up with their government, getting fed up with the youth especially, because they didn't see any future. So they wanted change. Barista, thanks for the follow.
Administration who say that he is dead serious about
Do you know who Chuck
acquiring
Schumer is?
Greenland one way or another. This is not just something that he is talking about. This is something he is extremely focused on, and it has truly alarmed our European allies. This is something, who knows where this goes right now. Those tariffs are invoked, are put on our allies in Europe. And by the way, that's coming just as the Supreme Court, we are awaiting a ruling from the court on whether or not Trump's
Demetro, thanks
tariffs
for the follow.
are constitutional.
All right, a lot to watch with all of that. John Carl, thank you. And tune into this week for John's interview with Mayor Fry and Republican Representative Michael McCall about escalating protests in Minnesota. Plus, New Jersey.
It is about rich and poor. That's the sad thing, because a lot of both Democrats in the left and MAGA in the right, they think that they belong to that group that benefits from what the fuck they are doing. But they don't. They are the first one that they're going to push over the rail to the water from the bridge when it needs to. They are useful for a certain period of time, but when they become useless, they are expendable. The problem is the tech Nazis. Yes, it is a part of the problem, yes. That's a bit of a harsh word to use, but yeah, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. Thanks for the follow. Just say, I mean...
Governor-elect Mikey...
Will Europe start dumping treasury bonds? It's an interesting topic, though. I was also thinking about that. Immediately when I saw those tariffs, I was like, yeah, that could be an option there. It could fuck up a lot of things for the United States, but unfortunately, because we know that there's a person on the other side of that trade war that doesn't take no. I don't think Trump has ever accepted a no. Because we already know from the court cases that he didn't. Even in his personal relationships, we know he didn't accept no. And that's why he was sued. Poor people are just getting distracted. Oh yeah. Going on each other, fighting each other. Pretending that the people who are making the decisions are for them, even though they are not.
Cheryl on her administration's priority.
Have you any information regarding BRICS? BRICS have been quite quiet since the Venezuela thing. Like, literally just sit back and watch and Trump just fucking the whole Western world. So BRICS can just like sit back and chill. Which is kind of ironic. They can literally do they don't need to do anything. Trump is doing the work for them. Peter Thiel has admitted wanting to end democracy using technology. Oh my god, Peter Thiel is just a fucking loser. Not on my favorite person list.
So number one,
Should I move to Portugal or Sweden? Depends if you like warm or cold. If you like warm, I would move to Portugal. If you like cold, I would move to Sweden. Both are beautiful places. 100% recommend. If you ask any populist of both of those countries, they're gonna say that they're like war zones. But as a person who quite often visited Sweden, like it's not a war zone, and I have friends who live in Portugal. So yeah, both are beautiful places. It depends on your personal preferences. Move to Greenland. Greenland is also nice. BRICS is more financially than military. Yeah, like at the moment. Again, want to encourage Europeans to get off US dependence. We are cooked. It's the same, Willie, that We should have started getting rid of like the dependence on Russia way earlier than we did. May contain alcohol. Thanks for the follow. Black Panthers are once again back. Yes, I did notice that. And I have to say that it only took the Gestapo to be roaming on the streets for the Black Panthers to come active again. Angelia, thanks for the follow. So Finland depends on Russia, what? Not anymore as much. We do still like lumber trade with them. We have lumber companies still operating there, but less and less. Like, I think it's almost minuscule at the moment. America is being decentered. That may be better for Europe. I mean, I don't want a destable United States, because it has so many ramifications for the whole world, not just the surroundings, as we've seen.
Measure and track. Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full time.
Let's swap our conversation. We can still have a conversation about Minnesota, but we have a few topics we want to talk. That's another topic that everybody loves to talk about. We have ADL leader Jonathan Greenblatt saying that FBI will monitor Americans who criticize Israel, which is again a bit of a person who's lived throughout the 2000s and think that what Snowden did was one of the best things ever. A bit of a scary thing, and should be a scary thing for every single American. Tarawin, thanks to follow. A lot of women and girls get harassed badly in Europe. Watch the video of a woman in Paris getting harassed. I mean, you do that. Like, I can find videos of like horrific things in the internet, but if you come to Europe, Europe is a big place. There's a lot of countries inside Europe. If you come to that country and you spend some time here, you can actually see that, oh, maybe those videos are again like populist. They have an agenda why they are handpicking videos and like making it to be a bigger deal than it actually is. Abrisak, thanks for the follow. Rosa, thanks for the follow.
Seven days a week.
But yeah, we are getting mass surveilled again. Surveillance in the United States, and that should terrify anybody, because what Snowden did, it showed that after 9/11, there was a bit of breach of privacy in the United States and around the world, and now they are doing it again, and this time they're doing it proudly, and nobody gives a fuck.
Week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games, cryptocurrency, podcasts, short-form video, Wikipedia, LLMs. We monitor these people, and we share the intelligence with the FBI. You saw last month, you heard about the thing that happened at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Our analysts investigated what happened. They said they were Koreatown for Palestine, this group of people. They weren't. We were able to ascertain they were from a group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Turtle Island is how like left-wing activists refer to the United States. They don't call it America, they call it Turtle Island, like the Iranians call it the Zionist entity, right? They only call it by its name. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, we gave them a whole dossier.
Okay, man, free Israel from Netanyahu. I agree. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree that Israel should be freed from Netanyahu and the current government, and they deserve a better one. Good call, Ukiman. Good call. I know I'm rage baiting you. You probably didn't say that, but Right-wingers get all of their opinions from social media memes. Oh yeah, 100%. You know nothing about this rail. What rail?
What is Turtle Island Liberation Front? What are their ideas, their goals? Who are they? We
Yes, places
identified
that
the
don't
people
allow
who are
free
in the synagogue.
speech, defining
This was on
freedom
Wednesday,
would be
December
bias
the
against the
10th.
US.
On Monday, December the 15th,
He
this is
can't
gonna ring a
spell.
bell.
Yeah.
Kash Patel announced they cracked a terror ring.
IDF are terrible. I mean, if you're celebrating and getting joy of killing women and children, I think any military would be deemed terrible. But yeah, IDF is by default terrible because they are targeting women and children and journalists and aid workers. Like literally the worst place to be a journalist is in Gaza. One of the most dangerous places to be a journalist. Also, it's one of the most dangerous places to be a female or a child or elderly or just living. If you think about it, it's a dangerous place to be if you're alive. And if Israel gets his way, well, not Israel, but if Netanyahu and the government gets his way, oh, they're not going to be there quite much longer. User 617, thanks for the follow. They're clearing it, yes. Where are you from? You're obsessed about that. I'm going to say I'm from Mongolia this time. That's the agenda. Oh yeah, I read like literally today, and that's the topic we're going to have a conversation. Tiki, thanks for the follow. The people of the United States voted for Trump, who ran on immigration and deportations. This is democracy, moron. Perry 840. What? Slap a like on the Steam and subscribe.
Where they arrested 4 people who were playing New Year's Eve bombings. Turtle Island Liberation Front.
What will happen if Netanyahu gets
one
his
of the
way?
people I know for certain was in.
Well, we know what's going to happen. There is no Palestine anymore. There is no Palestinians anymore.
The building.
Yeah, Lucas, 100%. It doesn't stop after Gaza either. Bibi wants greater Israel. He's already been posturing in Syria. He literally said it like in December that he wants to extend the border from the Israeli border all the way to Damascus. That should be the fucking border of Israel in Syria. He said that in December. And people were like, oh, sure, he was just like using metaphors, and he didn't really mean that. He was literally pushing people, the United States to attack Iran. Again. Not to mention Lebanon. And again, before anybody calls that, nobody's actually calling that, so I'm not going to say that. Nope, not a metaphor. Oh, it's definitely not a metaphor. He is literally wanting to expand the borders of Israel. Didn't he run on releasing the Epstein files as well? Oh yeah, yes he did. Yes he did. I think Stephen Miller models Bibi. I think Stephen Miller actually models Joseph Goebbels. If you go and read the book that Joseph Goebbels wrote back in 1928, the paper that Joseph Goebbels wrote. If you go read that, you can find some similarities with Stephen Miller. SGB M83. Thanks for the follow. I would highly recommend it. Like just to get a bit of a refresher of the rhetoric that they're using. I don't want to go there, but yes. I mean, of course, like I'm not encouraging anybody to go and read scriptures from Joseph Goebbels, but if you want to find some similarities, what is happening at the moment in the world, I mean, Some similarities is an understatement. I mean, he's literally using the same fucking... the phrasing and everything. How he's built the speeches and like, oh my fucking god. I'm American, reading is not allowed. I mean, you can read the Bible. Unfortunately, you can't really find really historical facts in the Bible that is applicable for the political climate that is happening now.
Wilshire Boulevard Temple.
Miksei listalla ole Iran? Melkoinen persu. What? What are we talking about?
Vandalizing it and disrupting the event.
There's a fight going in the chat.
Left-wing radicals like the DSA and the anti-war crazies and the pro-Palestine crazies.
I'm a crazy person apparently now because I'm pro-Palestine. God fucking damn it. So, on top of me having a lot of memes, shitting on Trump and JD Vance, having memes of those as well. So, I wouldn't get a tourist visa in the United States because they will scan 5 years of my social media activity together with my wife and my children's backgrounds like names, email addresses, so forth. On top of that, I would be on the ADL list that they will provide to FBI because I'm also pro-life. So I don't want children and women to die in Gaza. So I would be also on that list as well. So I would be probably on the terrorist list if I want to go to the United States. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild if you think about it. You guys have listened to me a long time. And imagine that. If I went to the United States, I'm always talking about pacifism, like peace. I don't advocate for death penalty. Like, I'm always on the side of the oppressed. But I would be labeled as a terrorist if I went to the United States. Imagine that. Adrian, thanks for the follow. I'm also humanitarian, pro-Palestine also. They wouldn't allow you in. No, fuck no. They would literally capture me on the border and probably take me to CSAT in El Salvador because they think I'm Venezuelan all of a sudden. Because there's no due process and they can't read Finnish, so. D14, Papas, thanks for the follow. In his 1928 book, Propaganda, Bernays hypothesized that by understanding the group mind, it would be possible to manipulate people's behavior without their knowledge. Yes. Christy BZ, thanks for the follow. So yeah, that's kind of sad that I like. This is why it's actually kind of sad that 10 years ago, if you asked me, would I be accepted for a tourist visa in China or US? Like, which one would be more likely that I will get access? And I have memed about and talked about like the Uyghurs in China. Also, I'm all for Taiwan and Hong Kong and Tibet. So back in 10 years ago, I would have probably had troubles getting to China. So 10 years ago, I would have said that I'm more likely to get into the US than into China. But now, in 2026, I think I'm more likely to get into China than to the US, at least alive. Bams, thanks for the follow. Your take on Netanyahu, out of curiosity. My take on Netanyahu. Everybody knows my take on Netanyahu. The same as Putin. They should be charged for crimes against humanity and war crimes in Hague. Put to a small prison in Antarctica that they will be fed 3 times a day. And that's about it. With drones. Automated drones that drop food to them. So nobody actually has physical contact with those people. So they don't try to break them out. Are you finished? Yes, I am. Called Israel or Palestine, every single person has natural rights. Yeah. Like, You should be the prime minister in the king's house. But sadly, there is no king in this world. Ask Christian Amanpour about international travel. But Russia war was directly provoked by the Jesuits in Brussels. Okay, fuck you. Do we want to talk about Russia-Ukraine? It would be instantly over the war if Putin admitted defeat, took the L, removed the army, and let Ukraine be Ukraine. Remove the army from the territory. Unprovoked attack. That's my take. And putting it a bit more further, like Putin has been treating his citizens badly for a long time. And now he's spending a lot of money in a war that he started. And is creating more suffering in Russia. So I have a lot of Russian friends, and of course my family roots come from that. So although I don't have any close relatives from Russia, distance, yes. Close relatives, no. Tourism from Europe to US has dropped off a cliff. Would you blame? I mean, I wouldn't be feeling that safe to go to the United States. Maybe a few states in the United States. Netanyahu is a terrorist, but Putin isn't. I would disagree. Like, the things that Netanyahu has done is more horrific. Putin has killed more. But the things that Netanyahu is targeting civilians almost, like, specifically. At least Putin is majority of them, they are targeting soldiers, but they are doing war crimes, which is targeting civilian infrastructure, for example, electric grids, fucking nuclear plants, power plants, bridges, water factories, so forth, civilian population as well. So there's similarities. I'm literally about to go to Idaho. Wife's grandfather is dying. Idaho, I think Idaho could be kind of fine. Probably Montana as well. Every is okay in the USA. Poor immigrants, not so much. I mean, if I would want to go to if I want to go as a tourist in the United States, I would probably go to Massachusetts, to be fair. Massachusetts has historical value for both the United States and it has a lot of other historical value. But yeah, Massachusetts would be 100%. But to be honest, they are illegal. The boats we sank in international waters were war criminals. But when they became shipwrecked, then you did a bit of a war crime there, though. Tinkerlin, thanks for the follow. Oh yeah, no. It wasn't like, yeah. Those were war crimes. Like, and then when you shot the ships again, like when they were shipwrecked, that's a war crime again. So it's a double whammy. Would you go to fight if war broke in Finland? No, I wouldn't. This is again where I probably lose a lot of you. Don't forget the Wonka. We are European Americans. This, Laura, thanks for the follow, and Tinkerling as well. This is where I probably lose a lot of you, but my home is where I live. And I am the opposite of a nationalist, you know? Like, my identity isn't the country I'm born. The country that has given me a lot is Finland. Yes, I don't disagree with that. Am I willing to die or put my family in risk for that country? I will say no. That will make me a horrible person in a lot of your eyes, but that is my mindset. I am now living in Ireland. This is my home. This is where I want to be. I pay taxes here. I take care of the community. I integrate here. This is my home, and this is my kids' home. If I move to the United States is my home. You know? I know, this is probably something that a lot of people of you don't agree with me. You live in Finland? I know. I'm a half Dane and a half Indian African with British citizenship. Ireland, yes, want to go there. I'm I'm my own country church. Would you fight for Ireland? I'm a pacifist. Like, even if I wasn't pacifist, I probably would say no, but like, you support Palestine, yes. Peoples, thanks for the follow. I don't think a single human being has the right to take another human being's life. Who cares what people think? You have values and that's all that matters. Yes, and I live by those values. And that's why I condemn every single fucking death that I see. A human life being taken away. Whether it's school shootings in the United States, whether it's the 40,000 plus women and children died in Palestine, whether it's the 1,500 students in Bangladesh that were mowed down by their government, whether it's the Uyghur Muslims in China that were literally put into concentration camps and killed. Death by another human's hand, in my opinion, is always a crime, depending on who does it. Self-defense can be non-lethal. I don't know how many of you have ever been in a life or death situation, but when you're staring at a person with a knife that's trying to take your life, and you come out of that without a single harm, and that other person is also alive and just one hand broken, like, then you have that experience. Don't recommend that to anyone, but it kind of proves a point. Of course, if that person had a gun, that outcome would probably be a bit different. To be fair, I would have probably given them my wallet instead of like trying to be an annoying, arrogant young person. You know, that I can take this on. If they had a gun, I would have probably given them my wallet. But because they had a knife, and I was young. And literally, after I got the knife away and made the threat non-lethal, pinned the person down, I called the police and waited. Made sure that the person was breathing because I saw that they were intoxicated. And I took care of them until the police came there. You don't carry a knife? No, I don't. That is a real weird thing to do to a person that attacks you, is looking after them. Let's see. I was deployed for 4 times. 4 is disgusting and smelly. I already fought for my country. Living in Netherlands, we are now living in a government country, but big things are being made. Just face it, there's no justice while Trump is in charge. That's why military training is so great. Yes, and also military training it changes your perspective about world. Like, either by 2 ways. You become disgusted about death and violence, or you might become more eager for death and violence. Or you might go to psychosis, like a lot of people in the military who have PTSD. Do you have children? I have 2 daughters. Must always carry one, better than a gun. Yeah, carrying a knife here is illegal, so I don't want to break the law. I carry bear spray. That is something I've been thinking about. But even in Finland, like, we had bears there, but anybody who's lived near brown bears, at least in Europe, like, the bears don't really like you. They usually just fuck off. Konnichiwa. What up, Too Fast, Too Furious? The bears in Finland usually just fuck off. Okay, now I need to... Jutta, could you go and check that TikTok chat? There's a bit of a fight going on. This is so interesting. I live in Arizona and I agree with so much of what you're saying. Arizona! Oh, I have a friend in Arizona. You know what he said to me when I said that if that's a good state to move? He said that, nope, just stay away. I was like, is there anything wrong with them? Nope, just so fucking hot you wouldn't survive. And I was like, okay, that's enough. That was his reasoning. Don't move here. You won't survive. It's too fucking hot. Rose Rizzo. No, I haven't. Rose Rizzo, thanks for the follow. I'm Finnish, so I don't like hot weathers that much. No, just check that. I am building my farm of greed. How will you protect your children if the fascists take Ireland too? Well, it's a bit of a cliche, but your home is full of weapons. You know? It's not that bad there, you get used to it. And a border state, so ice is going to be rough here. We want no war in Netherlands, but we are in year 4, or is it 5 now? Ukraine war. Now Trump with Greenland shite. I mean, Trump is literally just speedrunning different countries. Arizona has a lot of beautiful, like, desert and valleys. Why don't they lure Trump then arrest him? You think Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio and JD Vance would let that go? They would literally bomb the whole fucking country that steals Trump. Speaking of Stephen Miller, that good old-fashioned Gestapo officer decided to say that if you are surprised to see such a large volume of professional class leftists acting in a psychotic fashion in response to routine immigration enforcement. Routine in immigration enforcement. Tell me, what routine is when you take tear gas, throw it in a car that has 6 children in it, cause the baby in that car to need CPR? What routine immigration enforcement is that? Sherry Peck, thanks for the follow. Warm winter greetings from Warton, Illinois. What up, Vermin? That's a bit of a interesting statement from Stephen again, but I think he's doing that on purpose. Remember the conduct of this same group during COVID, masking babies, terrifying children, boycotting family, shutting. Oh my fucking god, are we comparing what they're doing now to a pandemic that didn't happen since the 1913s, 14s? Interesting. Why don't you open a live and invite? Invite what? Eikö ole kiva vääntää jenkkien kanssa politiikassa? Oh! Nautin. My country has sent 2 people to Greenland where the base has this space. I've only had one issue and it was crackhead. I sprayed them, cops took our statement and he got charged. Normally I don't care, but I had my kids with me. Wasn't gonna let him get closer to... Oh yeah, like when you're out with your kids, like you're always on high alert on everybody who you see. Trump is not running the show, my friend. Insurrection Act now, okay. Nuclear war is the end. This end is with Trump at the power. EU has to respond with, but response is the world. We got no number 1 word. I think there's been wrong on both sides. But at the end of the day, the law enforcement agents and officers should be looking after the citizens to the end. No war will happen. I mean, wouldn't be so sure about that. I helped my neighbors during the pandemic, never got sick. I avoided COVID until last year. No, 2024, sorry. We're in 2026 now. Trump is done. I mean, not yet. Hopefully, like... I don't even know if that's gonna help if Trump, like... is replaced. I think there's just gonna be another one. Because there's like Stephen Miller and JD Vance still there. They're telling us that we need to start carrying around our birth certificates now. That is wild. I mean, you could just start wearing a star. Sound familiar? speculatrix, I really hope Congress will act. Olisi kiva saada sellainen live mukaan, sellainen, jonka kanssa keskustella asiasta. I'm not really that interested about that. Auntie Faye, thanks to the follow. Trump isn't going anywhere. Congress isn't doing anything. Schumer wants to give ICE more money. I mean, surprise anyone? Big train accident in Spain. All right, well, let's see that then. Spain train accident. Breaking news, guys. Joo, voi olla aika päälle puhuminen. Yeah, and because like I'm streaming Se on siinä in different platforms, so if I go live with a person and they decided to say some bannable words, like, then this is all for nothing, you know? So I really need to go live with persons that I can actually trust, and it's really hard to trust, like, people you don't know. Trump is too old, won't last forever, like, hopefully. Okay, so train smash, at least 2 dead and multiple passengers injured, while others are trapped after 2 high-speed trains derailed in Spain. What? At the same fucking time. 2 high-speed trains have derailed in Spain, killing 2 and injuring many others. Emergency services were deployed to the scene, with the images circulating on social media showing rescue teams working in pitch black conditions. Yeah, because it's nighttime in Spain. Mukava illan jatko, odottelen Hearthstonea jossain vaiheessa. The ICE budget is bigger than the budget of Marines. And it only killed 2. It's sad. Like, I wonder what caused that. Trump is the... yes, Democrats want you to wear yellow stars of David. ICE can claim anything they like. Sending home for low casualties from Minnesota. Be safe, Spain. Yeah. Spain flags all around. Spain flags, like... It is a miracle if they avoided more casualties. Thank you for your valuable community service. Thanks, Vermin. The ICE protests are still ongoing. They aren't yet concluded. US is so behind. One of the trains had departed from Malaga and was traveling to Madrid when it came off the tracks in the municipality of Adamus Corbora. A second train bound from Huelva and running on an adjacent line also derailed in the incident. There was about 300 people on it. The full scale is still unaware. However, it's feared that 2 passengers are dead and many injured in what has been described as a serious crash. According to the reports, the rear end of the train was the most affected. People then grabbed hammers to force open the windows and doors. Rescue crews are now currently working around the clock to free people believed to be still trapped on board. Oh my god. That is a miracle if they survived. Shanette Ryan, thanks for the follow. Did you see what happened to Jake Lang yesterday? That's not that simple. Constitution says otherwise, and the SC is also fed up. Russia Special Forces. You think it's Russia? But that, like, 2 high-speed trains collide and only 2 dead. Not saying, like, there should be more, but that is a miracle, though. Usually when there's train accidents, like, we're talking about, like, at least 10s death or even hundreds. So if we survive with 2, that is considered to be lucky. Hi from West Yorkshire, UK. Hey, what up? We're not that far from UK. A 2-passenger train in US would have more casualties. Europe did it to Russia. The number is already 5, so it's increasing. Do we have another news site that is actually reporting that? I hate when these happen. That doesn't really tell us anything. What about the Independent? 2 people still dead. All right, we have Finnish news. Can we change this to English? There we go. 2 high-speed trains going 10 miles per hour, probably. Most European countries have better safety regs than the USA. We can all bet on Trump resignation. I know I do. Pressure is boiling and there is no return. 2 bullet trains have derailed in Spain, railway operator Adif said, according to Reuters news agency. There are at least 5 fatalities. In addition, several people have been injured, but there is no exact number, news agencies report. There was 300 passengers on board. The accident occurred just 10 minutes after the start of the journey on the sidings entering the town of Amatsus, where the derailed train collided with another train heading to, oh my god. Like, was it a head-on-head collision? God damn, that's horrible. Yeah, that's so sad. That is so sad. And usually those news get like fly under the radar because the main news that everybody's focusing on is the US at the moment. So looking at how casual the people inside is, I think the people who died must be the people operating the trains. It's great to watch history on the making. Feels like the Roman Colosseum, but worldwide. This is nothing for what is coming. They are rolling more and more of our protections back every day. Oh yeah. I mean, they have been kind of wiping their ass with the Constitution for a while. That's not a surprise when you have a leader like that. And where's the Epstein files? Epstein survivors say financier lured them with promise of college education. Multiple survivors claim Epstein dangled admission on top universities to ensure them in sexual abuse network. A New York City artist who said Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell shopped her around to men is among the survivors, claiming that Epstein used the lure of a university education to ensure her in their sexual abuse network. Like, this is something that we haven't discussed in a while. Rina O was a 21-year-old art student when she was introduced to Epstein in 2000 by Lisa Phillips. It's so unfortunate that you say that about the Constitution, but you are correct. I mean, just last stream, a lot of people were surprised that I knew so much about the Constitution. But yeah, it is sad though. Just sai vaimolle EU-visan ollaan muuttamassa Ranskan losista. Oh, I'm so happy about that, Copen Dallas. You should have come to Ireland though. But I do understand that France is a bit of a better country, but I have to say that Ireland is a really good place to live. Fruta Pruta, thanks for the follow. Is that why Trump tried opening the scam college? Could be. But it's definitely the reason why there's so many things distracting and going on at the same time is because, as we know, Epstein files were supposed to be released a month ago. And they still haven't been released. So where the fuck are the Epstein files? Fruta Pruta, no worries. Like, I try my best. We just had a long conversation about the 1,500 military personnel that is still standing on standby. If Trump is even going to put them there. Which is sad. When your leader needs to deploy the army against your own citizens, that should be a wake-up call for a lot of people. That's when a leader loses. That's when the leader is no longer the leader of the whole country. And the leader is selecting who's they're leading. Get out of my country. Stop smoking crack. Beautiful. I've never had drugs, so. Please fix your lisps. No. No one. We had a pedo protector in the YouTube chat. Doesn't want me to talk about Epstein files. I love the Ford factory worker that said pedo protector to Trump. And Trump got super mad about that. Epstein donors were majority Dems and donors. Well, Trump was a Dem as well, so what's your next excuse, Apple? Trump was a Dem donor as well. Did you just self-own yourself? But yeah, there was a lot of Democrats in the Epstein files. But also Trump was on the Epstein files. And Steve Bannon was in the Epstein files. There's a lot of horrible people in the Epstein files, and that's why we shouldn't stop talking about the fucking Epstein files. They're using the Epstein files to distract. No, they're using other things to distract from the Epstein files. They made a filing on the files on Friday. I saw that. Yes, there is not a good history of the army in Minnesota as Native Americans. Yes, I know. The crazy thing is, it's not a wake-up call for so many people here. Well, the SC is also in it as Trump can't ignore it, even when he's trying. The Nazis modeled their laws after Jim Crow era US. He was friends with him years ago, we know that. He was also friends with Bill Clinton. He was a donor of Bill Clinton. Trump was a Democrat as well. Both of them were in the real estate business. You should see Lara Trump defending the middle finger Trump gave. Let's see if I can find it. On her show this morning. Let's see if I can find that. Did you read the files? We read the files live. On the day the files were released, we were here live going through all the files. I don't know how many of you were here then, but we did that live. I was here. You do know that Gavin Newsom is cosplaying Trump as a parody. To see that if anybody notices it. That's why he's doing it. Where are you in the files? So far not. I'm not gonna make promises I'm not there. depends if I'm redacted or not. But so far, we went through like thousands of them, tens of thousands of them, and I didn't see myself there yet. But I've asked Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and also the FBI to redact me. Our constitution is being stressed and tested. We, the people, are working on this. Talking about the Epstein files, everyone knows that they are pedophiles and who they are. If you're in them, don't tell on me. I mean, I'm probably gonna show that to you guys live if I'm in the Epstein files. I tried my hardest to get the Cash Patel and Pam Bondi to redact me. You know, I provided cocaine to Don Jr. That should be the best bribe ever. That should guarantee that my face is being redacted. Of course, I have long hair, so you might be able to recognize me. Nah. You might come in the redacted and rewritten once a couple of hundred memes coins. It's been said that Don Jr. loves his booger sugar. I mean, that's the reason why Trump pardoned the ex-Honduras president who was responsible for trafficking 400 tons of cocaine to the US. Because Don Jr. was missing his supplier. So he needed a stable supplier of cocaine. So that's why they pardoned the ex-Honduras president that was literally trafficking cocaine. They just changed the address where they're going to deliver the cocaine. It's not going to be some random person in Oregon. It's going to be Mar-a-Lago. You might be a victim. What are you talking about, a victim? I was told what it was and I was there voluntarily. As a 30-year-old man, not as a child. With that pretty hair, mistakes can be made. For the next Great Gatsby party. I have a higher standard that does miserable insecure men. Trump is not pushing cocaine, but he did release a really big cocaine kingpin. Where do you get your info from? Infowars.com. Of course, the most reliable source of information. If you don't read sarcasm, I can't help you. That is not my source. That is I need to now reiterate. That was a joke. Hopefully you don't use Infowars.com for anything. You need to do some research. I mean, CDD, you can see what ex-Honduran President Hernandez was charged and convicted of. He took bribes from the cartel and was also co-conspirator for trafficking 400 tons of cocaine to the USA. CDD, I can't help you if you can't read. You need to do a bit of work for yourself. If you're not willing to listen and you're not willing to read, I can't really help you anymore. Ray, thanks for the follow. Congress needs to call Maxwell. She's the only one that can answer their question. I think Maxwell can be already like influenced because they reduce the security level of the prison that Maxwell is on, which kind of makes you think that maybe there's a deal that has been made that nobody's aware of. I don't listen to bullshit. I mean, clearly you don't listen to facts either. Like, I can't help you. like CDD, you have a problem. Why you sound like a Finnish person? I don't know. Maybe I'm cosplaying as a Finnish person. Could be that. Drugs are good, but must be used responsibly. CDD, okay. I'll humor this before you're gonna go to the shadow realm. So, Trump pardoned Hernandez, the ex-Honduran president. Correct? That is a fact. He pardoned the ex-Honduran president, Hernandez. Ex-Honduran president also. Where are all the chatters on YouTube and TikTok? Both YouTube and TikTok. Both YouTube and TikTok. Soon fan streams. Highly recommend. So, they pardoned Hernandez. Hernandez was charged and convicted of drug trafficking charges, taking bribes from the cartel, and also a co-conspirator to deliver and successfully deliver 400 tons of cocaine to the United States. But I mean, if that's not enough for you, I have some more if you want to. Just a sec. I'll read you some more. Now that we are talking about pardons. Are you ready? So, yeah, 400 tons. If we're talking about pardons as well, like, I agree. If you fraud the government, if you fraud in general, you should be investigated, put in front of a court, and trialed by a jury, and if found guilty, you should go to jail. Can we all agree with that? That if you're convicted of fraud, you should stay in jail. Can we all agree with that? Yes. Okay. CDD, can you also agree with that? Whether the color of your skin, your nationality, if you are found guilty of fraud, you should go to jail and stay there. I will throw a bit of an extra thing there that if you're convicted of fraud, regardless of your political associations, affiliations, or your past donations, you should stay in jail. What up, James? Well, if we all can agree with that. CDD is probably already gone because he doesn't like facts. If we can all agree with that. Reality TV star Todd and Julie Chrisley, convicted in 2022 of bank fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy involving over $30 million. Todd got a 12-year-old sentence and Julie got 7-year-old. They were pardoned by Trump in 2025. Trevor Milton, founder of Nikola Electric Trucks, convicted of security fraud by lying to investors, sentenced to 4 years in prison. Trump pardoned him in March 2025, wiping out any restitutions to victims. Adriana Camberos, a repeated fraudster Trump already commuted in his first term, she got convicted again in 2024 for a separate multi-million-dollar scheme. Trump pardoned her and her brother again in January 2026. Former Republican George Santos pleaded guilty to wire fraud and identity theft. Sentenced to 7 years, Trump commuted in October 25 after he'd served just months. Former Republican Michael Crime, convicted of tax fraud, forced to resign from Congress, pardoned in recent patch, which was in 2026. Michelle Floor, ex-Las Vegas lawmaker, 7 counts of wire fraud, pardoned in April 2025. This is just a small portion of a president abusing pardoning. A lot of the pardons that Trump does has donation connections to the super PAC of Trump's campaign and Trump as a person, as an individual. So if we agree that if you're a fraudster, you get convicted of fraud, you should stay in jail, which is something that they're investigating in Minnesota, and if they find fraud there, they should go to jail. But let's not fucking be hypocritical once again. Let's not be hypocritical once again. The same thing, a lot of you who've been here in TikTok and YouTube, you've seen me talk about a lot of different topics. Let's be consistent. I think Iranian protesters should have the freedom they deserve. The regime has treated them horribly. The same goes for Palestinians. The Palestinians deserve freedom and safety. That's consistency. If there's fraud in Minnesota, they investigate, they charge them, they go to jail. That's a good thing. All fraudsters should be held accountable, dependent on the color of your skin and the origin of you. That's called consistency. Be consistent, call out bullshit. If your president pardons fraudsters and in the same fucking breath says that everybody in Minnesota who's black is a fraudster, well, I'm sorry, everybody who's Somali in Minnesota, which is clearly, well, again, race related, is a fraudster. Let's be consistent, right? Remember, life is going to crush you very soon. Is that a threat? That's an interesting threat. It's not a bad thing when it's not used. Well, I hope you don't have. There we go. Bye. Cry yourself to sleep, loser. That's an interesting take, Nightonic. When your supreme leader is called out to pardon fraudsters and in the same breath is calling fraud in Minnesota, that's called hypocrisy. That's called selective. That's literally people that could be considered bribery in some states. Iranians are fighting oppression and religious extremists just like the US is in the US. That could be considered bribery in some states in the United States. Like if you donate to a campaign and that person gets in power, and when they get in power, they pardon you from a crime that you committed. I mean, you don't even need to take a big leap to make them. Good, it is finally time a United States government gets control of the fraud. I mean, it would be really good. You aren't even American, so maybe talk about something else. Nope. I don't need to be an American to talk about America. You know? That's not considered bribery. It is bribery. It is bribery. America just likes to use pretty words to hide reality. That's why I used it could be considered bribery. Because in some states, it wouldn't even be considered bribery. I love Donald Trump and I love ICE. Well, one day you will wake up from that fever dream and realize that, well, things are fucked. Good luck, everyone. But then again, it's your right to think what you want, and you have the right to have your own opinions, just like me. You might not like me talking about the United States of America, but I do like talking about a United States of America. Because I have freedom of speech and I can use that however I want to. If you don't want to listen to me, you have the freedom of choice as well to fuck off. But you can also stay here and express your freedom of speech. But this being a chat. 23 years in military. Oh my god. You think that's a flex? Oh, that's not a flex though. I feel sad, to be fair. I want to see Trump exist the White House with things are fucked. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, the last fucking speech he will ever say is like, okay, all's fucked. See you guys. Trump is putting American people up at risk against a lot of countries. The funny thing, like, that is unfortunately true. That is unfortunately true. Like, my God, how do you think sleeper cells and terrorist groups and hatred towards United States is created? Guide Elisa, thanks to follow. How do you think those groups are created? You think those groups are created out of nothing? If you push a people back against the wall, you think that those who are growing up in those conditions are gonna grow up to praise you or look at you like you're the fucking devil and want to take revenge? That is how you create enemies. And not just enemies, like proper enemies, not just to you, but the whole country. Isn't it weird how they just flared out that they love him without anybody asking? I mean, I've got grown accustomed to that's how they express it. The weird thing about it is, like, I don't see that sort of cultism in any other leader, whether it's like even in Putin or let's take any European country. There's not a cultism like that. I think the closest you could get is somewhere in China where they need to express their love for their supreme leader, but that's not a good sign. What country are you in? Let's take another country. I'll choose the Central African Republic this time. He went to Russia in the late 80s because nobody wanted to deal with him. Trish, thanks for the rose. Impeach Trump. That would be the best birthday present. So I hope that happens before March. Honestly, reminds me of North Korea. I mean, that's not that far off. He's not man enough to say what country. I mean, it's not a secret though. I've said it many times. I've said it many times in the stream as well. I live in Ireland. I am from Finland. It's not a fucking secret. You can find it in my social media. You can, like, I'm not hiding that. I love Deutschland. I still have family there. My Aunt Margaret and Uncle Kirk. Because that's an ad hominem they're gonna use. That why are you talking about some topics? Or they're gonna try and use ChatGPT. Oh, love to go to anywhere here, but here. But yeah, like, if you see that I'm a bit on the edge when somebody asks certain questions, it's because I get those questions all the time, and usually people use them as an ad hominem instead of, like, staying on topic. Releasing the files will be a threat to national security. I mean, the best move from the protesters in Minnesota would be to say that Epstein files were found in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then Trump doesn't find Minnesota anymore. So Minnesota is fine. That would be actually really a fucking 200 IQ play. Is take some of the Epstein files, bring them to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Trump loses all track of Minnesota. Sass Riley. Oh yeah, 100%. Like, that is going to be an interesting case when we find some more about that. Remember Epstein said that Trump was the freak. And Sasha Riley said also that Trump was the big guy. That's what I heard from the Sasha Riley tapes. Paratroopers, they're gonna come in from the sky and land in Minnesota. Trump is crazy. I mean, he wants to kill his own citizens. What do you think? You think that is not something a dictator would do? You think that he values every single citizen the same? He doesn't. It's only those who praise him are useful puppets for now, until they aren't anymore. And after that, they can be disregarded. I voted for Donald Trump, now I regret it. I mean, I've said this as well, like, Donald Trump is a professional fraudster and also ex-salesman, so he can lie quite well. Which we also, like, oh my god. You can watch any documentary of Donald Trump's, like, fucking business endeavors. If he couldn't lie, or didn't know how to lie, like, he would have never gotten those business endeavors, because he was such a liability to every single project he was in. But because he was such a magnificent liar, he got away with them. Hey, Rosa Blaze, thanks for the heart. And that's why I think a lot of people also believed what he said. Because he is an expert fraudster, a liar. He stole 500 million from Venezuela and put it in Qatar. Yep. Does Putin has info about Trump what will finish him? I hope he has the Baba tape. Because we need to know if Baba is a horse or Bill Clinton. Just for shits and giggles. I mean, for science, you know. We need to know whether Trump sucked a horse or Bill Clinton. Fraud was years ago. It's finally coming through the courts. It's been resolved long ago. What are we talking about? Test monkey. Who's test monkey? Democratic Party should name their party to release the list party. So what about the Minnesota fraud? I just had a big rant about it. Trump is like anything than the Epstein files. Like, yeah. I wonder how many different things he can invent before releasing the files. He would just, it's like a band-aid, you just rip it off. Yes, your friends is gonna get hurt. Yes, you're gonna be in the files quite a lot. But hey, at least it's done then, you know? Do you have a Discord for your streaming? Yeah, I do have a Discord. I think you can find it from my YouTube and Twitch. I think there's, if you go to my profile, there's that link tree. I think it's there as well. Peter Thiel is not able to shut the fuck up about the Antichrist. Oh yeah, I've noticed that. Like, I think he's kind of shocked. Get the cock out of your mouth, fool. You're about as gullible as they get. You gobble that propaganda so fast. You're going to choke on it, idiot. Robert Green, do you have anything like valuable to add on that? Or was that your take? Like 100% ad hominem. Like, nobody's going to go to your profile, at least no one with any tenuous grip on sanity. I mean, please do stay on topic, Robert, if you want to. You want a list of people Trump has pardoned that are fraudsters? Trump was on the Epstein files. Does that make you hurt? Does that make you cry, Robert? I know that can be sad if your supreme leader is in the Epstein files. I know that. That's a good thing that I don't have that cult mentality, that I haven't put my personality in a party, because Bill Clinton is there, Bill Gates is there. They're all fucking disgusting human beings. They're all disgusting human beings. But because I don't belong in a cult, Robert, I can say those things. Because my personality is not in that cult. I don't care who is in there, even if it's someone I like. Epstein list needs to release. Yeah, exactly. If you match that dude's energy, he'll start crying that you're making fun of him. I mean, I tried to smile as much, and I tried to make it like kid. Check the Discord general chat. What the fuck did you put there? Let's see. Who's Baba?
Tell me who's.
I think I'm gonna listen to that after the stream. I don't know, like what's in that song. Is Bondi on the files? I hope. Obama deported 3 million illegals using ICE, so what's the difference? Maybe the execution. How to do that. There are ways to do things. And there are other ways to do things. Is Bond in the files? I hope so. I always used to think my friend was mental, saying the elite drink blood of children. I remember that conspiracy theory. God bless the men and women of ICE to protect them from these retards. Oh my god, that's so sad. If you need to do mental gymnastics to justify killing your fellow citizens, so I just feel bad for you in that do things legally, don't do anything, you get yourself shot. I don't think so. She was nobody until DT propped her up. You're the sad one. No, I mean, if you celebrate death, that's just sad. I don't celebrate any death. Like Charlie Kirk's death was sad, and Rene Good's death was sad. Both of them should have been avoided. And how it would have been avoided, both of them, would have been if the person didn't pull the trigger. The person who pulled the trigger is always to blame. They had the choice not to pull the trigger. Lots of chatbots. I mean, yeah, apparently. CIA is doing their hardest to try and infiltrate their chatbots in my chats. Then explain why he's deporting people who have come in the legal way. Oh my god, Tammy is here again. If any group of people can stand up to Israel, it's the resilient people of Palestine. I think all the nations in the world should have intervened in Gaza decades ago. Decades ago, they should have intervened and said to Israel, hey, this is your fucking land. Said to Palestine, this is yours. That's it. Martial law is happening now. They are going to try and expand it. I mean, it's kind of evident that Trump is afraid of the midterms. So this could be a psyop just to see that how obedient the right wing is. So if they need to use the martial law option, they might be able to do that without any resistance, as we've seen. The same people who were calling the government Nazis for asking them to put on their masks and asking them to show them their COVID vaccine papers are all of a sudden now saying that you just need to comply. That is, again, fucking hypocrisy in its fullest. The same fucking people, the same... The roles are reversed, which is ironic though. But it is hypocrisy from both sides. Be consistent. They will send ICE if there is a disobedience. But it is like if a MAGA person comes to have a conversation about the Minnesota protest and they're saying that they just should comply, you can just come back to that and say that you should have just complied during COVID, and see how their brain is just exploding. They're starting to fume from their ears because again you confronted them with a inconsistency that they're doing, which is something that they do quite often if you think about it. But then again, the Democrats are doing the same. Both sides have been conditioned so well, it's not time for phase 2. But yeah, like Democrats are now like literally flipped. Democrats were on the side of like government on COVID. Republicans were on the side of revolution and the government is Nazis. And now the roles are reversed. The Democrats are on the side of the protesters that saying that the government is Nazis, and the Republicans are just on the side of the government saying that you just need to comply. Flip flop. Just comply, you won't get hurt is a hostage taker talk. And we've seen that if you just comply, you will still get hurt. Like, if the shooter is innocent, what's wrong with investigating? Anyone who supports the chaos are merely uninformed. You don't need files to see what kind of man he is by his actions. Where are you? I'm here. But yeah. Hey, tomorrow's Monday. Tomorrow's working day. So, as a person who pays my taxes, works a lot, I have a work day tomorrow. So, Dutch, no. I'm Finnish, but I live in Ireland. Went from drain the swamp to Shrek Trump's. If you just comply to Russia, everything will be okay. So, I'm just making everybody ready. I have a work day tomorrow, which means that I need to go and start prepping because I also need to check that all kids have everything ready for the morning. Ireland is not run by Sharia, and everybody who says that instantly gets blocked because that is one of the stupidest lies I've ever seen. As I knew it's Finnish. My boyfriend is from Finland. Oh, I'm gonna say congratulations, Blue Silver. What the fuck do you know about American politics? Apparently more than you, Apple. You're a great dude. I'm trying to be. I'm like an illegal alien. I'm not going to live until I want to. What the fuck? What? Please check the next zone. I put it in the Discord. Let's see. Is it in the... It's in the same section. They get offended when you call out their side. Sad if it's both sides. I mean, it is kind of both sides as well. Like, Democrats don't like that as well when I call them out. Give it, brother, we are all educating people. You know, if you self-deport, you have the option to come back legally and they give you 3K. Will liberals ever admit to one thing they like about President Trump? I've admitted 3 things during this stream. But yeah. I've admitted 3 things during this stream that Trump has done well. But that is something that a lot of MAGA people don't want to listen because they want to categorize me with the Democrats, and I'm not a Democrat, so that kind of ruins their whole fucking worldview, that there's more political views than just left and right. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's more political views. You're not even American. You're the guy from Jay and Silent Bob. I'm not even American, that's true. Blue Silver, thanks for the follow. We New Yorkers had a front row seat to the Trump clan way before the internet. We were the first grift. Now they're grifting on a grander scale. Brace yourself for impact. Asukko Jenkes. No, I live in Ireland. Alright, guys. I'm gonna go prep for work. Also prep my kids for school tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow because tomorrow is usually the day that Trump has press conferences. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. You're not American. Your political opinions suck. Well, that's your opinion, Apple user, and you have nothing to back that up because everything I've said is literally fact-based. So good luck with that. Have a great rest of the day, evening, day, wherever you are. Remember to subscribe, follow if you want to more. If you don't, have a great day still. All right, take care, guys. Love you guys.